Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
No. We're live on one and not the other. It says upgrade now. I don't think you want to upgrade.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
yes. We are.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Part 2. Part 2.
Part 2, because we definitely didn't finish. But the tough thing is that if we don't do it right away, then it's like I have other conversations with other people. And then it's just now like, I'm like,
now I have to kind of remember what I was.
I know I've talked about
it so much. Now I kind of have to think about it again. But
that's why I put a link out there for anybody that wants to jump in. You can jump in on our restream. You could also jump in on Instagram too. We can, have you join in either way. But yeah, no, if you have anything to talk about, but I don't even remember where we were.
Well, we left off we were talking about the whole mass shooting thing and just gun regulations. And then so I was able to actually speak my half. Like I was able, in the first part, I had spoken a lot and I spoke a lot about where I'm coming from and just kind of what I see the issue really being and maybe kind of some ideas that I had as to how can, because regulate more, which is where I'm at. I'm
Hold on, you're still, all right, so after this weekend and all the conversations, you still believe that?
I think that the issue is mental health, and I think that we really need to tackle and target that. And I think that needs to be a part of like a heavy screening when anyone gets a gun. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work out that way, because the only way that would really work is if the actual licensed clinicians were the ones who really had the say in really how to determine XYZ. And if it's a government thing, that probably won't really be that. There's a whole thing.
Then we got it. Yeah, that's where we kind of ended, where it was like, okay, yeah, clinicians, yes, but okay, not all clinicians think the same. Right. So they might think that one clinician might deem one person.
So then I was like, well, then every clinician has to go through extensive training before they can actually do this job of being the ones to screen individuals before they buy guns. And then you were like,
who designs the training course?
And then I was like, the FBI. I was like, I don't know, just like someone.
This is the problem. So what I'm proposing is the complete opposite. So see how
But you agree with me that this is a mental health issue.
Yeah.
Okay. And you agree with me that there maybe could or needs to be like an actual mental health assessment to buy a gun, or no? Like an actual evaluation?
I'm not sure. I can't. Let me elaborate a little bit first. But I can't. I can't even. I don't know.
Interesting enough, as I'm sitting
not
here right now,
that it's not
in order
a bad
to be
idea,
a cop, hold on. Yeah. In order to be a cop, don't they have to go and have a psychiatric evaluation?
If they don't, they should, I think.
No. I thought that was a part of the process, or maybe the FBI or something. I thought that like a part of the process was you have to be screened. Like I thought that there was like a psychiatric evaluation.
I think that might be like a new thing that they're starting to do after the George Floyd thing.
Interesting. So I feel like it was
because before. You could easily have police officers in the past. I don't know how it is today, but that had PTSD, that were in the military prior to.
No, I know, but the point I'm trying to make is that in the event that police officers, FBI agents, whomever, need to actually have a psychiatric evaluation before they're able to even pass everything and go through to the next level and become an actual cop, then the system's fucked anyway, because clearly there's a lot of fucked up.
Clearly they're letting people slide through there, right?
And they're still out there with guns. So
right.
I guess.
So this is what I was saying. Like, as we had this conversation with your idea and the regulations and stuff, you can see how it gets more and more funneled and focused into one entity where it's more of a top-down situation, and you have power at one point that either designs the regulation, the training, or whatever the fuck it is, and then it's instead, why don't we look at the opposite way, where we empower all individuals? But what this means is it takes personal responsibility
And time.
Right?
Like a long time. Like so
Right.
So this requires
hold on.
patience.
But
this requires
the other
going
way
through-
takes time too. It's
the
just
other-
like
yeah.
it's just like we just shove off the responsibility onto a government agency or whatever
Right.
and say, "Hurry up and do this. I know that you guys can get it done." And they never do, obviously, guys. They never do. They never do it right. It never gets done right. It's too slow. It's all fucked up. And then we deal with this shit over the course of fucking 20 years, and then we realize, "Oh, that's fucked up." But we're never going to get that power back. They just hold on to it, and they just like layer more shit on top of it. And they're like, "Oh, well, we need to create more agencies and blah, blah, blah." And then it's like every agency the government creates is money out of your pocket, because guess how they get paid? Taxes. Taxes, 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 right? Every congressman, senator, whatever program they want to fucking develop, it's out of your pocket. So the more programs you create and want the government to create, then you're asking for higher taxes is what you're asking for. Anyways, that's another route we're talking about.
Just on the other side of things, like in the event that they were to actually create a program, right, that consisted of only licensed clinicians or maybe contract workers or whatever who are willing to give psychiatric evaluations for people to buy guns, I would much rather that. Like, me personally, I really wouldn't give a shit I wouldn't care if my taxes were a little higher if that meant that we had a really great program.
I wouldn't either.
That's
Yeah,
just-
if it was great and if it was designed
Right, it has to be
properly
designed,
and the right people were controlling it. Like, because here's the other thing too. We change presidents every like 4 to 8 years, administrations, different managerial situations in government. They change all the fucking time. So you never know. The next person could have a different mindset and want to change things. And guess what? They have the power to. Once it's in there, they can implement it. And that's how they set it up, We, the people, push for it and we're like, yes, pass that bill. But then once it's passed, how it gets changed and modified down the road 5-10 years, we have no say in that. They just do it, right? And anyways, my example of what I would say, and I did kind of go into this, didn't I? Or just not on the podcast?
No, it's really not on the podcast.
Because I've been talking about it all weekend, but not on the podcast.
Yeah.
Is more personal responsibility on the individuals, right? Like parents even, right? Maybe we all just need to, maybe parents have to, or should be, oh no, what was my example? Oh yeah, it was with, remember Dare? Not Dare, yeah. Dare, right? What was
Reagan?
Yeah, but what was the thing? It was, say no to drugs.
Yeah.
So everybody remembers the Say No to Drugs with
What
Reagan,
the hell
Nancy
did DARE
Reagan.
stand
Dare drug
shows
agency.
Shows how well that program
didn't really
was.
work. Yeah.
Because I don't even know what it stood for.
But I mean, I think it was. I just think that they utilized the wrong subject. Because obviously we all know at this point that people are going to fucking do drugs, and you're not going to stop them, and they're just going to keep doing it. Well, that's the same mentality we have to have with like guns and crazy people.
Don't say crazy people.
All right. I don't know how you want to explain them or whatever. The people that are going to do things that the majority of us disagree with that are horrible. That's kind of a long version, right? Those people are always going to exist. People that do things that maybe they're not in the right mindset or whatever chemical imbalances or whatever it is, you can't eradicate those people from Earth. You cannot. We could do a good job on trying to like pinpoint them and evaluate and figure out who is more likely to maybe become one of these types of people. I don't fucking know. I mean, you would know better than I do on that, but that's it. We just have to have a new mindset of like, these people exist They're always going to exist. They've always existed. They will always exist. Guns. They've already been created, guys. There's no reversing, creating the creation of guns, right? They're already here. So we need to figure out how to live with them. And both of those situations, the mentally imbalanced people that do crazy things and the existence of guns, means that people will die now and throughout history. We can try our best as a community to minimize that, which I think overall we've done a pretty good job. I mean, if you think about Genghis Khan going from there to like Egyptian times to even like Roman times and like moving forward in history as a whole of human history, there is way less human death now, like millions less now, because of like war and like humans battling humans than ever in history. So yes, it's horrible to have incidences where 6 or 20 or even 2,000 people die. That's pretty crazy. I mean, 9/11 was like 3,500 or something like that. I mean, yeah, but in the big scheme of things, it's very minute, and we've done a good job with what we have. I mean, I'm not even talking about like nuclear weapons and all this other shit.
So where are you going with this whole DARE program?
All right, where I was going with the DARE program is that, if we had people at the top, presidents or whatever, with a healthy mindset of understanding.
Still saying the government.
No, I'm saying if they're going to do anything, this would be the extent of them doing. This would be the most I would hope for, that a healthy, good president with a good mindset and understanding of society and how they want to see the future grow.
Who's that?
Me, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my God.
We haven't had, but is the extent it would be like the government just saying, not even creating, just like getting out, like Biden. I'm all over the place because I'm thinking of all the conversations I've had this fucking weekend. So Biden gets out after this whole gun shooting, right? And the first thing he says is, we need more regulations on guns. We demand it. And, shit like that. Mm-hmm. What he should be saying is, this has gotten to a point where we all need to look at ourselves. And I am going to personally suggest and I don't know the word, promote mental health in every individual. Parents, maybe it's a good idea that you understand yourselves a little bit better. Maybe there's a lot of people out there that aren't good at communicating, period. Never mind communicating with their kids, that it's hard there's such a detach because, all the technology, kids are on all these different apps and stuff, and you don't know what's going on them. I mean, there's so many different layers, but at a fundamental level, when your kid is like born up until they're like 6 years old, all that foundation comes from the parent, right? So if you can create a good communication with your kid, a good understanding of who your kid is, and prior to that, having a good understanding of who you are and who you want to be and the goals that you want and how you want to see the future for your kids and your kids' kids and your kids' kids' kids. Because like we always think about in the moment right now. We don't think about like when my kid's going to be 40 years old, right? Or my kid's going to be fucking 40 years old. Because that's the change. This is the reason why I'm 40 years old, and my dad and my dad's dad, because they were thinking about in the moment, like with Social Security and whatever, all these other programs that don't work and I don't even give a fuck and I get no benefits from, but it was benefiting them at the time. Because they were thinking in the moment, we're in the situations that we're in. now this is the long-term thing, and this is work on yourself and the personal responsibility. This is a long conversation. It's more long than 2 parts in our freaking normally like hour and a half podcast. It's a year's worth of podcasts of constantly talking to people, that the therapists and freaking I don't even know, anybody you can think of that understands personal mental health and communication and just even spiritualness of like understanding self and where you want to be. But this is what I'm suggesting. And a president can not do all that for anybody, but he can, maybe every time he gets on stage and he gives a speech about whatever, at the end of it, he could be like, and I hope that everybody is, taking care of themselves mentally, and we can say positive things that relate to like you looking inward on yourself and you having better communication with your children. Do you get it? It's like a...
So basically, I think what we were talking about last
I know
time,
I just said it the long way. But
yeah. What we were also talking about outside of this podcast was that, okay, so going back to DARE as an example. So the thing about DARE, although, there was, lots of cracks and holes or whatever in that program or whatever. And I think that program was a really... It
was well-meaning.
That was a program that was well-meaning, but it was trying to tackle something very, very huge, as well as this whole gun issue. Anyway. But for, let's say, you ask our parents, you ask anyone who's our age, right, in their 40s, 30s, about the DARE program... Everybody has heard about that. Everybody was around. Everyone knows about it, knew about it, heard about that shit.
They knew it had to do with like not doing drugs,
right? Exactly.
Kids and
so basically, although it, probably wasn't the best program, right, or whatever,
it planted a seed.
It planted a seed, and it injected just all of this like stuff mentally into people, and now we just know that the DARE program was about this, and that's what it was doing. And so we knew that there was a program out there by the government that was focusing heavily or tryrying to focus on this whole issue with
getting
drugs.
Kids to not want to do drugs.
Right. So basically what you're saying is that even just that in itself, so imagine if there was a program that was geared towards mental health and trying to, create... But I guess just like
I would
create a new way of I don't know. Anyway.
I would be okay if the government said, "Hey, Aaliyah, you know what? We want you to head up this program, but not for the government. We want to give you $1 million to get started, and this is on behalf of the government because we care about our citizens, and we're going to give you this to start this off." And your job will be to organize clinicians all over the United States and just kind of have them come together and promote this mental health well-being amongst all of citizens.
Right. So basically...
And you're on your own, however you do it, because you're the clinician. You're not... Government doesn't know shit. You're the clinician.
Right. So how I see that happening is the government then, or someone in the government, is going to have to get a hold of some really well-known psychotherapist or psychiatrist who's worked with, I don't know, lots of like hoity-toity high people, right?
Well, that's what they would do,
right.
Yes.
And that because they have to start they don't know me, no one knows who who I am, so it would have to be someone who at least
as soon as a president brings you on stage and presents you as this person, you're instantly...
Yeah, but
no.
The president doesn't know me as of right now. So for him to even find me or my name to even come up in his fucking list of people he could use.
Right. And then
that's what I'm saying. It would have to be someone, again, who's well-known, high up there, right? And then that person would be like the head of the whole thing, like Fauci is the head of whatever, right?
Yeah, see, I wouldn't even want to do that either.
But that's how it would go, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's
realistically speaking. And then that person would then have to create that's how it would go.
The decentralized way of all these things is the best way to go, although people don't like that because the people that don't actually want to do anything, but they want things fixed right now will demand that somebody be in charge and show that they're doing something. But if we put all the responsibility back on individuals, because this is a cultural thing, this is a cultural problem. It's not a gun problem or a regulation problem. We got regulations on guns. It's illegal to kill people. So we already have laws. We have plenty of fucking laws, guys, right?
Yeah, but some states are easier to get a license and all that stuff for a gun than other states.
Well, that's once again, here's another thing.
Like I know some people in Florida right now who have the freaking license to carry, and I gotta tell you something. Because I know them, I'm like, holy shit. Like they're in my mind like the last people who I would be like, yeah, have a license to carry. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like I know that exists. And mentally, if I'm coming from a mental standpoint, I'm like, shoot,
Well, hopefully you can go the rest of your life and they have never done a mass killing. And then at the end of your life, you'll be like, I guess it was fine.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Right? And, but it's really what we don't understand as a society is that none of this power or like change comes from an individual at the top telling people what the fuck to do, right? It comes from you and I and all of us and anybody listening to this, and we just do it. We do it in our own little world, our own little bubble, and make it happen. And this, here's the other thing too. Like what you were saying is like, oh, there's different states that do different things. Well, you should be grateful that that exists. Imagine if, like, there is China and then there's Russia and other countries that one person on top tells everybody in that country what to do. We are lucky that we have all this diversity and we can see one state that implements something such as cannabis laws, right? Colorado was the first one. At the time when that happened, the whole country was like, oh, this is crazy. I can't believe there's going to be a bunch of psychos smoking weed out there. Now, less than 10 years later, now all the states are doing it. That's how it's supposed to be. Starts really small. People see it. They say it's working here. Oh, now it's working there. Oh, now it's working there. Oh, let's do it everywhere now. That's how it starts. Little, then big. Not big, then down.
Well, when it comes to guns, apparently no one really seems to, because no one's on the same page when it comes to states. Each state is different, and no one's fallen in line with.
And that's fine.
No one's been like, "Ooh, yeah, that's great."
You know what?
And take that on.
No, they do. They do. There's lots of states that do.
Oh well, I mean, like
similar.
Texas, Florida.
Okay, so Texas. All right, so
states.
So then, you know what?
Because there's different mindsets of people who are running each state, also.
And Texas and Florida,
and so it turns into politics.
Some of these mass shootings, correct? Texas and Florida, right? Okay, so I don't listen. The gun I try to stay away from it because it's like it's not about that. It's like once again, come into the reality that we live in a world with people with chemical imbalances that do dumb fucking things, and they're not going away. This is why you will always have a job. There is always going to be these people, right? There will always be guns.
Yeah, I think that, I'm aware of that.
There's no such thing as a utopia with these things. There is no.
Right.
There will always be people dying. You agree?
Yes.
Okay. So when that happens, when those small groups of people die because we all choose to live in this world, which we can't go back on, we can be sad, we can be upset, we can look at the situation individually and figure out how that happened in that area and why and whatever. And maybe those people in that area will make differences. Maybe they'll make changes. Maybe they will have more regulations or whatever the fuck it is. But they'll decide there. Like, you can't have like this top-down shit and it's across the board because we're so different in the United States. Every single state, every city, every town, every individual. That's the good part about America, right? That's the amazing thing. That's why everybody loves living here, right? But then when we look at it, like when one thing happens like this, then we're like, oh my God, do something. Well, fucking do something, motherfucker. Do something today, and it's going to take you the rest of your life. But maybe for your kids or your kids' kids, it'll change.
So why can't we have a mixture of those two?
We do right now, I think.
No, because I don't think the gun laws are really all that. I think that not in every state, but I think that's I think that the piece that's missing in purchasing a gun, me personally, I really feel like there needs to be an evaluation.
Do you remember a time called the Wild West?
Yes, Joe, but we don't fucking live in the Wild West right now.
Why not? Because we're at the point where we've made all these regulations and changes. We've seen these different things, and we are there. We are there. That Wild West was, here's a gun, just made it in my garage. Here you go. Go shoot somebody. Okay, Wild West. There's no guns, Australia. So Wild West, Australia. We are in the middle right now as Americans.
Okay, so you're saying that they're hot because of the regulations that we already have. I understand that. I'm not saying that there aren't any regulations. If there were, then people, it wouldn't be the way that it is. So I get that. My focus, though, is that I think that there's one thing missing that I think is a very important piece in this whole entire thing that I do believe is a focus. Listen, they say, okay, do background checks. That was one of the regulations they have. Okay, so then there's background checks for people to get guns, right? And even then, there's loopholes. We read about it because, you go to a gun show, and in Florida, there's fucking gun shows every day, and then you can basically skirt around the background check, and fucking that whole shit. But my thing is this: you have the background check as something that is needed in order to get a gun, let's say, but you won't just throw in like an actual mental health screening with that. I don't really get that.
I think a lot of these NRA and everybody else, they see it as a slippery slope because of what we talked about earlier. It is going to be and it would be a slippery slope. It would be a slippery slope because, again, you would have to really truly have a program consisting of clinicians who, one, know about testing, okay, know how to score all this shit, and two, are not going to test and be like, oh, this person's depressed, they don't get a gun. That's not how it works. It can't be like that. Someone who's depressed can have a gun. Well,
like it's not like meaning someone
problem.
Who has depression, let's say, can own a gun. I mean, is it? Are they going to go shoot up a school? Like, I mean, we're not. I don't think in these tests we're kind of looking for that. I think in these tests we're looking for something a lot higher and a lot more complex than just that. Is it great for someone who's depressed to have a gun? I mean, probably not. No.
And it would have to be on an individual basis, and the guidelines is what the problem is.
And hold on, let me be clear. And not even great for someone who's depressed, who's in depression, to have a gun for other people. I'm saying it's not the best for someone who's clinically depressed to have a gun for themselves. That's kind of what I'm saying. And that's
because they could
kill themselves.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Right. No, I get it. But here's another great thing about America. Like, we have the freedom for the most part, except it's kind of getting really encroached on a lot nowadays, but to make choices. Like, I can drive my car, and I could easily get in my car right now and drive it into a head-on collision and kill somebody else. I could do that. Do I want to? No. Why don't I want to? Because it's probably not a good idea, and I like my life. And, some people don't, though, and people do that all the time. So there have been people that just drive their car into other people's cars, right? But, I mean, it probably happens almost daily, in fact. But we don't know about them every day. We don't hear about them on the news. They're not pumped out in the media. Every single second something like that happens. But if they did, we'd all be like, shit, we shouldn't have fucking cars. I can't trust this guy. My neighbor could be fucked up in the head, and he's going to get in his car and he could go kill somebody. No, we live in America.
I mean, not to be whatever. Choices. I do think that there needs to be. Well, that's why in order to drive, that's why there needs to be fucking, like, you have to check your sight, you have to da-da-da-da, stuff like that. And I don't know how it gets when you get older, and not to discriminate, but I know, let's just be realistic. As we get older, my eyesight is changing, like people's eyesight changes. There should be like constant of that,
there's no utopia there either, because at the end of the day, this, right? Like, you could talk to somebody and evaluate them for weeks, and they could be perfectly fine, and they've had healthy relationships and all their life. Then something happens to them. Maybe something happened to them that day. Maybe their mom died and some horrible thing, and like they're just
And
like,
they're gonna
fucking
go-
life is over. This is crazy.
And they're
guys."
gonna go shoot up a school? No.
Maybe not shoot up a school.
And first
but
of all,
no,
something
I was
was
talking
wrong-
about the car and car act.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, yeah, this is a whole fictitious thing that I'm talking about here. But
But that's the
you
whole
don't
thing
know. People can just like turn on a dime in one day.
like Snapped.
yeah.
Like that whole like that fucking show Candy on Hulu. And basically
Don't know
that's a
anything about
situation, I guess, where someone would say that she snapped, right? Based on how she described how it went down, right?
Or that Jolt movie, and she had an actual diagnosis, right? Like what was that?
Explosive something explosive disorder. I forget what the hell
yeah,
it's
where
called,
like
but
they have uncontrollable rage.
anger and rage, and you just
Yeah.
snap, right? Yeah. So right. So
But that would be diagnosed, I guess, in an evaluation.
somebody would
probably.
know, right? We would catch that.
But what if that is it possible that a healthy person can come into a traumatic moment? That's what PTSD is, right?
Yes, but are we talking like a healthy person can come into a traumatic moment so much so that they can go shoot up a school? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, but what I'm just saying is like it's all there's so many variables of why people do things. It's like everybody just wants to like figure this out today of like, all right, we need to know exactly what every single person is going to do at all times and how they're going to do it and when they're going to do it and why they're going to do it. It's impossible. It's literally impossible.
You know what I would love to do is I would love to, and I feel like there's got to be like a research. Someone has to be doing research on this. Some psychiatrist, some clinician, some doctor, research on the brains of mass shooters who, died, right? Or like, like the...
They
like,
have done studies where there's more activity in certain parts of the brain and stuff like that. But I mean,
Yeah,
I don't. They still even that is like very top level. Like it's kind of we see this pattern, but they don't know really what it means. I don't think.
And then also, I wish I don't know much about this, but I could have sworn that the kid who
Scoot in a little
who
more.
just did the recent shooting in Texas, his parents. I saw this little clip where like they went online, not online, but on the news, and they were talking to the news, and they were just like, apologizing and so sorry, blah blah, and like stuff like that. And I didn't hear the whole thing. I have to, but I'm like, did they have any sign? Like, were there any signs of anything going on with this kid, or were they just totally disconnected, or was this kid just like a sociopath, meaning like really great on the outside, like 'cause sociopaths can be like fucking great, like.
So, all right. So literally we could sit here. This is why this podcast and this topic can go on forever and ever and ever,
Right.
is because there are so many variables and it's actually something that is unresolvable, right?
Well, what's unresolvable? What part of it's unresolvable? The gun.
Mass shooting, killers, people that have chemical imbalances, and guns exist, right? It is unresolvable to the utopia point. I personally think that if you look at the big picture, like I said before, we're pretty good. If you get like, I don't know, I don't even know how many people die from guns a year, but I'm sure it's probably, I don't know. I would just be guessing,
guess.
but it's not millions. I know that it's like 1,000 or something. I don't know. Maybe more. 1,000.
Don't,
Yeah, we won't
even guess.
We
Don't
won't
even
even guess. But it's far less than like before, when a long time ago, hundreds of years ago, up until now, right?
I think that the other thing that also just like on a smaller scale first, and then kind of branching into larger scale, when we were running some errands and I was kind of talking about, I forgot how this conversation got started, but I was like, I wish that there was like in each state, right? Like each state had like a group of, let's say, clinicians that were, and I don't know if each state has this, but I know, like, for example, in Florida, when the condo collapsed, when that whole building collapsed in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, they called you up, right?
Yeah. So I got a phone call. and to actually go down there and work with a lot of the individuals there, because the PTSD, forget it, after something like that is huge. And so unfortunately I couldn't go because I was by myself and I had my daughter and I had a baby. But I wanted to so fucking bad. But this whole situation makes me think of that, because I'm like, okay, the gun law thing, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I know that for myself, you know, what I can do is, you know what, I'm going to go to each...
We talked about this the other day.
I'm going to go to each police department and fire station in my area where I live. I'm going to let them know that I'm a clinician in the area. I want to help free. You don't have to charge me. Fine with that. I just want to help. So in any situation where there is a severe situation that occurred, where there is...
That's what I was going to say. You better make it clear that it's like
any situation where it's a heightened crisis, a mass thing that occurred, whether it's a fire in a building and like there's lots of people that lost
otherwise
their lives.
They'll be calling you every day.
Like this has to be... I mean, I also have a practice and I, you know, unfortunately, have to live, right?
Yeah. If it's a big thing,
it has to be like a big level situation, then I definitely want to be a part of that in terms of, hey, look, I will help. Because I saw that the family, the teacher who died, who got shot, and then her husband who had a heart attack afterwards, they have a GoFundMe to, I guess, get money going together for not just their funeral services, but also for like mental health services. And my immediate thought was,
what do you need money for?
That shit should be free.
Every clinician in that area should be calling that guy up. That
should be fucking free. Like, money, keep your fucking money. You know what I'm saying? Like, those services should be free, just in my mind. So I'm like, there should be clinicians that get together in each state and that just go to these places like, hey, we'll go.
This is the small thing. So you do this, right? And we had this conversation the other day and I said, listen, I think that's a great idea, and I think you should even document it doing it.
I feel weird about it. I feel weird.
I know. You feel really weird,
but it's tacky to me.
But the whole point of documenting it would be to spread the message of like, hey, look, this is what I'm doing in this is the impact I'm trying to make in my little area, and it's gonna hopefully at some level help this little area. But if more clinicians did that in their little area, then it would be a more larger, impactful thing, right? But then this is what I'm saying. This comes down to the personal responsibility and the responsibility and the time and the effort to just go make this aware, make yourself known to police departments and whoever. And I'm sure
some of these states, because in Florida, the reason why I got that phone call for the building was because I was working for a practice. And I believe no, was I at the time? Or did I have my own practice?
You weren't working for a practice.
Oh, no, I had my own practice. So
but maybe they got your name from like one of the other places that you were a director at or whatever, you know.
I don't know, Who knows how they got a hold of me.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some level of some of this stuff. It has to be because they called you, right? So,
right.
At least in Florida, we know that there's something like that. But
and I was like, not that I was like waiting for that call, but like I think I told you before that phone call that I was like wanting, because like when like these big hurricanes happen in all these different states or whatever, and I was like, God, I want to fucking get on a plane and go there so bad. And then I got that phone call. I couldn't fucking go. I was so pissed.
But getting back to like, I think that's a great idea, and I think you should do that. And I do think you should document it.
I'm not documenting it, but I'm totally doing it.
I'll document it.
It's a tack. It's just not my move. It's not my move.
But then you're just doing it. Yeah, but I get it. But then wouldn't it be nice if what if if we document it and you put it out there that 10 other clinicians from all over the United States hit you up and said, you know what, I'm doing the same thing.
I mean,
there's your group you just created, but it's only because you put it out there.
Like, I see what you're saying. I see like the benefit of it, but I'm also the person that wishes I could just give
and that's
free
why I'll do it. I'll be the one.
That's
why I'll be the one documenting it, and I'm going to be you're not doing any of this. You don't do any of this stuff. You just show up.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I don't like doing that stuff.
Okay, but getting back to. Like I said, we could talk all fucking day about regulations and figuring out like gun laws and who's going to be in charge of what and blah, blah, blah. We could talk all day on that shit. You know why? Because this is, once again, this is a never-ending solution, right? And in the way that I'm talking about, it's also still a never-ending problem, right? But I think the way I'm talking is more impactful because it's exactly what we were just talking about with you and like promoting, like getting it out there that you're doing this, making this little impact in your town
On a small scale,
on a
and
small
then
scale,
kinda
and
have
then it
it to
gets
go
bigger,
into,
right?
yeah.
So, like just even from this podcast, you know, if one person saw it and they were just like, "Oh, that makes sense. Like maybe, you know, I don't really, I never thought about, you know, my kids' future and what the world will look like then. You know, even just having that thought from just me putting out this podcast is impactful in my point of view, right? So, but what I'd like to do is like it seems as though we go down that other path and it's like we can have rebuttals and go back and forth and blah 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 all day fucking long. Let's go down this path of me saying, all right, let's say we do this, and let's say like what are the problems with personal responsibility and understanding your kids
There's no
and
problem with that.
communication.
That's why I said
But
that. That's why I said
there
let's
has to
just
be
have
something.
both.
All right, there has to be something, right? Because otherwise, then we'd all be doing it. What's the reason why?
Well, first of all, that I mean, we have to also understand, like, so how someone thinks, someone's belief system, someone's perspective, someone's all that stuff comes from how they were raised, and it comes from how that person was raised, and it comes from how that person was raised, and how that, right? So.
And we talked about this. We were raised by essentially cavemen, like our parents and our parents' parents. They didn't know shit. We don't know shit, but our parents didn't know shit, and our parents' parents did not know a goddamn thing.
No, but
about
in terms
raising
of like,
kids.
right, but like also just in terms of like everything, in terms of just like how you fucking view the world, you know, like everything is based on your environment that you come from. I mean, bottom line.
But
you
this
know?
is what I'm talking about, is about the injection
I
from
know
a
that, but
higher
that would
level
have
of like
to-
just the suggestion of some things. Like if it came from a president and said, hey
and they
guys,
were like, this is what we're this
is what we're
what's
doing
going
as a
on now."
community now, moving forward in culture.
I think
and
there'd be
it's
people,
a good
obviously,
suggestion.
a lot of people to resist it at first. You're like,
Of
you know,
course.
it'll be a whole thing, blah blah blah.
Of course,
blah, blah, blah.
this is exactly why people don't want to sit with themselves and think about them, how they are and who they are and what their own thoughts are.
Yeah.
It's like essentially a meditation almost, just like figuring out what you want to do in life, right? But
I mean, it's really it would. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But I think just the only, I wouldn't say problem, but thing with it is really just that. Is that like you have? I think the level of resistance would be actually.
that's fine. But
So high.
But hold on. Can you imagine it though? Like the level of resistance. You're right, but nobody's going to talk about it because you talk to your neighbor about it. What are you going to do? You're going to complain? You'd be like, "Oh, the fucking government's telling me to fucking figure myself out and talk to my kid." What are you going to complain
Right.
about? Right? There's nothing you can complain about.
Right.
But they'll internalize it, and everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck? This fucking guy doesn't know shit." And they'll complain, but they'll get over that fast because, well, maybe not fast, but some people maybe not fast, but some people, because at the end of the day, if the president is saying this, and other communities and other actors even and whoever the fuck else that they get to fucking promote like gun control and all this other shit, get those same fucking people to say this.
No, that's true because I mean, let's say even just look at like I honestly feel like what do you think would happen if Trump, who has a massive following, right? Like people are just obsessed with that guy, right?
What if he got up there and said
That's
that?
what I'm saying.
First off,
I'm like, what would-
people would be
what-
pointing at him and be like, "You need a little of the
But
same thing."
what would happen if Trump were to come out and be like, you know what? This is the program, and was pushing some kind of just modern version of DARE that was just on some whole other level and had to do with guns and mental health or whatever,
he would
right?
say, "I'm doing it too."
Right, like, and that was the case. Like, I that in itself could very well possibly just create that shift because then people who already follow him are obsessed with him already. Like, Trump knows everything. Trump, right?
I mean,
like, he's
any like high profile. If freaking Drake came out and said this tomorrow, it would make an impact. You know, I don't know. It seems like a great idea to me, but you know I understand the path of it because it took me a long time to figure these things out within myself. And then I can imagine people with kids that are maybe like, say, 3 or 4, and they haven't really thought about themselves and their future and what their true thoughts are, and just sat with themselves and had a therapy session or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be like your world's exploding because you're going to realize a lot of what we're doing as society is incorrect, and that's the reason we have mass shootings.
Something that you said too, I feel like before you were like, just like, spewing out just like random thoughts. So one of the thoughts was like that every parent, let's say when you become a parent, you have to have this like class or training that you do or whatever. And it's like, they can't have that.
Because that's another top-down fucking thing.
Well, not even that. Like a lot of people who aren't into that just wouldn't have kids, and there'd be a high level of probably abortions, maybe, which is fine. But I mean, or whatever, to each his own.
Or people not having kids,
or people not having kids,
that can't actually.
But which means that
handle kids,
right? But if people aren't having kids and the number goes down in terms of that, then the population.
There's been plenty of times in history where it's gone down, it's gone up for different reasons. But as time goes on, and as culture changes, and as people start realizing like this is important, then there'll be more people having kids again. It's just, I mean, that's what we're gonna complain about now.
I'm just saying. Look, that's
well, maybe those people shouldn't be having kids. I don't know. Well, if they realize within themselves, say you're a newly married couple, you're thinking about having kids. And then you hear this from the president, right? You're like, shit, maybe that's a good idea. And then you start going to therapy and you're like, fuck, man, I didn't realize that my dad beating me when I was a kid really impacted me, and it's making me feel these different ways, and I have this rage and blah, 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 blah. And maybe your wife has some other issues too, and then you guys get together and you're just like, I don't know. At this moment right now, it's probably not a good idea for us to have a kid right now. Let's keep working on ourselves. Let's keep living our lives and then reevaluate in a year or 2.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not how. That's just not.
All right. Why isn't that how it works? No.
Not everybody thinks that way.
Why not?
Because again,
because you don't have a president suggesting this,
but also how maybe they were raised. Or this is what I'm saying about your
right.
view
But
of
how do
life.
you change it?
Your view
how
of
do you
the world
change it?
is based on where you come from. It's based on your environment. Who raised you? Where'd you come from? What did it look like? People you had in your life.
Yes, that's 100% a part of it. But anybody can take the initiative to realize those things at some point in their lives, that I was raised by this person. And
how can someone realize something like that if they never had someone in their life that was able to actually guide them and show them that there was an actual issue?
The president, famous people, everybody promoting gun regulations. If they're all saying it, it's in your culture. It's in your Instagram. Fucking songs being made about this shit.
No. But what I'm saying is, if I came from a environment that has a long line of just dysfunction, unhealthiness, just unhealthy traits, whatever, right? And no one really, got help because they've been living their lives the way that they're living their lives. So therefore, what the fuck's the wrong, what's so wrong with this? And I hear even the president saying something, it's still not making sense in my mind, because to me, I'm like, well, what's wrong with this is my norm. This is what I do. So although I hear you telling me that I guess it's supposed to be like XYZ, that's still foreign to me because this is my norm. So in order for me to even take that step to even go make that change or do something and get that insight is going to be very...
You're going to have to... Okay, but if somebody that you respect or some influential person in your life, right, mentions this newfound information of maybe you should look into this in yourself, that would be the spark for that person to do so, no? That's what therapists do.
I can't tell you how many times Obama has probably, when I go back to listening to any of his things, I don't go back to, but like when I remember them, let's say in my head, Obama was that's the one thing that guy was like amazing at was a speaker. He could speak, okay? Like he just had always had great conferences or whatever. My thing is, Obama has actually said things in his speeches that he said, like, about like, like community and coming together and we should all blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like, and if you're like, he has said shit before that I'm like, well, if that's the case, then we could have listened to what the fuck he said. People would be like, oh yeah, okay, well that makes sense to me. And yes, and that's
he's one person and he's just making a suggestion and it's like it's not a consistent thing. Like Dare was like everywhere all the time. They plastered it fucking everywhere.
He was going to schools, right?
T-shirts. Some people still have Dare T-shirts. Right.
right.
There's a whole campaign.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, people have opinions. Look, I'm sitting here saying it. No, that's probably not changing anybody that's listening's fucking life, right? But the more people do it, I don't really care because I'm already doing it in my life, right? So my main focus is for the world to be a better place, even if in the tiniest little bit, for my daughter and her kids, right? Because I know it's crazy and fucked up and upside down right now. So I'm not trying to change, like everything's going to change tomorrow or even in my lifetime. I know that, and I'm okay with that. So what I'm trying to do is look way into the future and what can I do now that can move that forward? Well, I can talk to my kid and implement these ideas into my kid. And then when my kid gets old enough, then they can start just talking about it and living that life. And then it's kind of like this, whoever they're friends with, she's friends with, then maybe they'll pick it up and then they spread it. It's just little trickle thing, And that's what culture is.
Sorry, I literally, I must look so crazy in the video footage because I'm like there's 5 different places to look. And
this one's the distracting one over here, right?
Yeah. Then when I look at that one, my eyes go that way. So it looks.
Oh, yeah, I can't even get rid of that. That has to stay there. If everything stayed here, though. But I know you guys get what I'm saying. So then that's it. And you can start.
We've solved it.
Well, you can start today.
Moving on.
Something you could do. Everybody wants things to change today. Well, go ahead and do it. Change yourself right now. Just like that.
I mean,
it's not that easy.
Well, no, Joe.
But
if it was that easy, again, I wouldn't.
It's not that easy, but you can take one step today in that direction, and then tomorrow, and then maybe or read a book or whatever the fuck it is. Everybody needs different things, but and I'm not saying I know the answer to like everybody's, because even communication with your kids. If I just suggested, everybody needs to talk to their kids more and figure out how to understand the red flags and whatever.
People don't know how to communicate. They'd be like, how do I do that? You know, like, I mean, Jesus.
And if you don't know how to do that, okay, well, then that's when you take the next step and you say, maybe I should look for a therapist in my area. And maybe
but when I tell you, some people don't even know that that's even the next. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to.
Once again.
Who are like, who see me after like 10 years. And they're like, honestly, no one ever even, like, I never even knew that. And like, I'm like, you never knew, like, people just don't know. You can't assume that people.
But why don't people know?
Again.
Because their parents, we are parents now. Mm-hmm. We know.
I know some stuff.
So we're going to pass that on to our kids. So she'll know. Uh-huh. Look, we did it. We changed the potential trajectory of, maybe I don't even know, wherever we figured these things out from, we changed the course of our families. Potentially. In the long run.
Yes.
And this is the moment. We could look back when we're 80 years old and our kid's doing some, who knows, maybe she's doing some very, philanthropic activities or whatever. And she's like, helping whatever she's doing that we can look back at this moment and be like, okay, hopefully we had a good handle on this understanding and we talked to our kids properly. Listen, not everybody's going to get it right either. And this is going to possibly take generations. I mean, think of how long it took us to get to where we are right now, where most people don't even understand, don't even think about what, everybody wants a better life for their kids, but they don't think of the details of it and how it gets done. It starts with you doing it, living the life. So, because your kid, for the first 6 years of their lives, all they do is they watch you and they repeat and copy every fucking little detail of what you do. So if you're doing fucked up shit, but you might not know it's fucked up, but you realize it's fucked up, well, then you should change it because your kid's going to pass that on and continue that on as well.
Oh, they're definitely doing fucked up shit then.
Right.
I mean, look at Soul. I hate that, like, I
we do fucked up shit too.
Well, I guess I get, like, frustrated and then I must be like, ugh. Because now whenever I get irritated, I'm like, ugh, you know? And now she does that.
Yeah.
So the other day I was like, I was in, my mother's staying with us, so she was in the guest room and Soul's in there, and I'm like, Soul, go say good morning to Daddy, go give him a kiss. Shit you nacho, it was like this. Soul, go say hi to Daddy, it's the morning, go give him a kiss. She goes, oh.
Come on.
Swear to God. Swear to God, she knows how to use it, when to use it. My mom and I were like hiddenly like dying. I was like, and I was like,
up.
Okay, come on, let's go. Come on. She was just like she's just.
See, but look, even that, right? That is something to me. That's something to me in my head. I'm like, all right, why does she feel that way?
I don't think it doesn't have to do with you. I think
maybe I need to do
it. Has nothing to do with you. First of all, Soul's 2 years old.
Well, she didn't. And when she came in, I saw what she did. She didn't fucking give me a hug and a kiss.
Listen,
she went over to the dog first.
You personalize
the dog first to say good morning.
This is Joe's issues, his own parental issues, where he personalizes things that a 2-year-old does. The reason why she said that was because she was playing with her fucking toys, and in that moment, I was like, Soul, go say hi to Daddy. You just woke up. And she was like, ugh, because I distracted her. It had nothing to do with you.
No, true. It's a thing. Yes. Yeah.
You are so sensitive to Soul.
I get it. But I'm just saying, like, look, you said that and I picked it out and I was like some people, some other dads might like laugh and be like, oh, whatever, you know? And I'm like, hold on. Is there something? Took a quick second. Evaluated the situation, thought in my head, what could I do better? Maybe, or I still do think that every parent can do better. You know, I definitely think I could do better. I could do things, I could be probably more, I don't know. And this is what I'm figuring out myself.
You actually have, I will say, not to switch. I mean, because I remember in the beginning, I used to get on you about how just like non-emotional in terms of certain things, or how you were always so like, easily distracted with like work or the phone or whatever, and I'm like, she's gonna grow up and you're gonna be like not even like fucking her person, because she's gonna be like, Dad's just disconnected and just and detached. And that was it.
I'm still working on that, but I think I've gotten better.
You're way better. You're like so involved emotionally, physically. I mean, it's crazy.
See, but that's just, it took me a long time to get to that point where I can actually recognize those moments and then act upon them. You know, so
we're also talking about someone who's self-aware. I mean, you're pretty self-aware, so it's
right. But I mean, self-awareness
points it out. Yeah, but if someone points it out in you, it's easier for you to then kind of look and go, okay, let me now be like more aware of stuff like that.
But self-awareness can be taught, can it? Can it be taught?
To be self-aware?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
or more self-aware. Maybe not everybody's like perfect and is aware of every little fucking thing. Nobody is.
No, but like there are people out there who I can say something to in terms of like, look, like it seems like you blah 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 blah, and they're like as though what I just said was like the craziest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there are people who I say something to, and they're like, huh, okay, right, you know, and then they like keep it here, you know, it's here, so that when they're living their life and it pops up, they're like, oh my God, the other day, da 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 da, right? Self-aware versus someone who just really.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I know that not everybody is good at this or understands this right now, or, you know, this is why it's a long thing, you know, but you know, if I was the president or somebody influential or wherever, I could present it as like, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. And I think that it's important for people to understand these things about themselves, about their kids, and how this works, and how you're building a foundation for the future, and what they're going to think then, and like how they're going to do things, and how the world's going to be created. Like, you raising a kid is literally you're working on the future being better.
It's
Just
such
through your
a
one little kid.
It's such a serious role. Like I feel like
It
I
is.
know,
It's the most responsibility of my life.
It's the most responsibility I've ever had in my
It's like
whole entire life.
I mean, I've had multiple mental breakdowns in the past 2.5
Biggest
years.
responsibility. Like nothing else
Borderline
is
heart
more
attack.
responsible than having a kid. Paying bills, whatever. You know, like taxes, whatever. Mortgage, whatever.
But this is what I'm saying. In society, it's not presented that way. Everybody's just like, oh, yeah, have another kid. Oh, do this and blah, blah, blah.
No, man,
Oh,
this
don't you want to have a
shit
baby
is-
when you get, you're 30 years old and it's time to have a baby? Shut the fuck up. You know, why don't we all talk about all the detailed, extensive responsibilities that it takes? And maybe that'll prevent some people that aren't ready to have a kid from having a kid, or maybe they're not ready to have another 2 kids. Maybe they're good. Maybe it's enough responsibility with the one kid that if they had 2, they're just gonna fucking lose it.
What is that?
But if we all communicated about these types of things on that level, I always thought it was like mind blowing to me. Like when we were in the hospital and our daughter was born, they're just like, here you go. You're in there for 1 day. They don't show you shit. Nobody's fucking doing anything. We're like requesting, like, do you got like fucking handbooks or books or fucking somebody to come in here? And
there
like,
were some nurses that were better than others. There were some shifts that were like,
right,
I'm going
but
to give
this
them
is
some
not
credit.
something that you learn in a couple fucking
No,
hours.
of course not. I mean, it's just like, here you go, and now you're off. And
But
it's
all
like,
this should be done.
we didn't even know how to put her in the fucking car seat.
I know. But all this should be done years before even having a kid. You should have these understandings and know what you're in for and all this other stuff. And I think that a lot of people don't. And I feel bad for them because we were one of those people.
That's true. Like no one really like so. For example, for our situation, Soli was 6 pounds 5 ounces, so she was pretty little. You know, if I had, let's say, a 9-pound baby or an 8-pound baby, something, right, and I put them in the car seat, I feel like it wouldn't have been a big deal that day.
Oh, because she was young.
But
yeah, she was little.
because she was 6 pounds 5 ounces, she didn't even fit in the fucking regular infant fucking car seat.
Right.
And then when we went to try and do it, nobody was like, hey, look, just to let you know, because she's small,
Nobody.
you're gonna have da-da-da-da, and you're gonna have to do this and do that. No one. We literally were in the parking lot, like trying to figure out, so much so that finally I was like, I'm just gonna have to basically just like sit here and like hold, because I'm like, is she in? Is she not? Like, I mean, it was nuts. It's true.
Yeah, you were in the back with her, and
Yeah.
she barely fit in the fucking
She
thing.
didn't
So
even
we're just
fit in it.
like holding her, like, is that good? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll drive 20 miles an hour the whole way home.
She didn't even fit.
But I mean, that's the least of the fucking things.
Right.
It's like there's so much more. And I'm not saying like to be a parent, you have to know all the details, but like you should have a very good understanding of what you're getting into before even impregnating your wife or being impregnated by your husband. You know, you guys should really
No one thinks so. And
hold on. And I don't think
And
it's
I'm not saying that no one thinks, because well, yes, because I was one of those people when I was younger that didn't really think about stuff like that, like in my 20s and stuff, you know? Like you go out, you have a good time, you're partying, la la la, hooking up with people, shit happens, and you're like, what the fuck, right? And then it's like, oh shit, you know, like, so I get it, you know, like, but... And I really don't know what to say to people, I guess, because I lived that life. I was very reckless when I was younger, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Like it never went in my head like, ooh, you know, this is a huge responsibility.
Yeah. Well, the reason why it doesn't happen is because
Why what does it happen?
that information.
Why
and
no one
communication
says,
isn't
here,
expressed.
before you leave with this
Right.
with this human being.
Right. And there are hold on. Let's preface this with there are organizations, there are groups of people, there are people at the hospital that are extremely knowledgeable and are trying to teach you as much as they can before you leave the hospital.
No, there are,
and
there are classes too, which are Dr. Silver's basically was
we
like,
went to a couple of them.
He was like, fuck those classes, go to only 2 classes because you're only going to need 2, fuck the rest of them. So I only went to 2. But even in those classes that we did, I feel like it wasn't until we got through it that I was like, why wasn't this talked about?
Right.
Why wasn't this mentioned? Like, fuck all the dumb shit. Like, this is the stuff that needs to be talked about.
But here's the
classes.
problem. It's like, it's so much information that
So much information.
to relay that over the course of even like 9 months is like not real. Yeah, I know. My mom's commenting on it. She's like, how's your face doing?
No, she said your
like
face,
surgery.
Your face looks less swollen.
Oh, when swelling went down.
Swelling
yeah, for some reason I can't like,
because you have to switch it.
Yeah, but it says.
It looks like all your channels are read only.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't even know what that means. Read only.
Meaning you can't respond.
I don't know how to fix it is what I'm saying. So that used to work.
So press this arrow right here.
Yeah, I did that before.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I thought I figured it out.
Yeah, no. Sorry. So whoever's chatting on, there's people talking. I don't know what Joan was saying on there. She said both.
I think that was when we were talking. Like I was like, why can't we have both types of things? I think that's what she was kind of talking about the gun regulations and then the.
But what I'm talking about is like, okay, so it's there's so much information you can't. But if you had a culture that talked about these things on a regular basis, generation to generation, and it was just the normal thing, and famous people were talking about, and presidents were talking about, and whatever, the world would be so much better.
This is going back. This is going outside of the baby situation that we were talking about.
Outside of the baby,
or just even
it's
just
all
with
connected.
That too. It's all connected.
This is all connected to fucking mass murders. It is. Actually, I'm telling you, it is.
Actually, it is.
It fucking 100% is.
It is all connected.
So, if we had this, and this is a utopia world in my mind, even though like not everybody's going to understand all the details and not everybody's going to like take to it, and there's going to be people that just say fucking those guys are probably going to be the mass murderers. But it is what it is, and that's, but what we all can agree on is we're trying to make the world better. How do you do that? Not by saying, hey, president, tell this group to do this and that group to do that and blah, blah, blah. No, you look at your fucking self, you fucking figure out yourself. Then once you figure out yourself, you can help others, meaning your kids or friends. And
someone wants to come in.
Oh, who's that?
Samendra.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, well, we're willing. We're willing to just roll the dice here on. Hold on, I don't know what else.
View request.
View request. Okay. Let's see. What is it? Their name?
I don't know.
Oh, we're getting somebody on live, Instagram live, and
please add me.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hi. Can we hear you? Not sure.
Can you talk?
Can you hear us? Hello. Oh, hi.
Hey, what's going on? What's your name?
Where do you live?
Do you have a question?
Where do you live?
All right.
I don't know. We can't hear you. Actually, there's something wrong. Wait, hold on. Oh, where do you live?
India.
Ah, India. Wow, that's actually really cool. That's interesting.
And you?
We're in Rhode Island.
And you?
Rhode Island. United States.
G?
Do you speak English?
I am Indian.
Yes, he's Indian. Okay. So, do you have a question for us?
Hello.
Yes, I don't think he. Okay.
Yeah, dude, get the fuck out of here, bro.
No, what do you, don't say that. I don't think.
Well,
I don't think that we could
I
don't think we could understand each other, and that's what it was. But I couldn't really hear what you were saying, and I don't think you can hear what we were saying. But thank you for trying to join in. I definitely appreciate that. From India at that, which I think is actually really cool.
Yeah, well, could have also been some sort of, who knows? How much shit do you get in your DMs of like people like, oh, you want to like get 10,000 followers?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just, he seems like he's someone who wanted to join. He said,
No,
please
he
add
didn't
me.
seem like some, because if he was actually somebody that wanted to join in the conversation, he would have said something.
But maybe he couldn't hear us.
He would say, I can't hear you.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, Joe. Thank you.
All right, yeah. All right. Just trying to give out good energy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, God.
That was very sarcastic. Anyways.
So, I mean, let's wrap this up, actually.
Yeah. I think I got my point across, though. Like I said, nobody's actually openly going to disagree with anything I say. Internally, they're going to be like, fuck that motherfucker. I'm not doing that shit right now. That's stupid.
Right.
But then, once again, if we had a president or other influential people that were saying this and promoting this or doing campaigns across the United States promoting this activity, I think it could be a huge shift in culture, and we may have less mass shootings.
Fingers crossed.
But when people hear this, I understand what will be thought. That's the long way. That's hard. That takes so long. They want to solve this problem right now. So go ahead and do that, right? You you have your president do whatever, put more bans on guns or regulations or whatever, and then when you're 80 years old and your kid's 30 or 40 and your kid's kid is 30 or 40 then, or you're dead, whatever, you don't know who the president or who is in control of regulations and how those regulations have morphed until that point, because you have no say in it after it's been passed, right? Those regulations could turn into no guns across the fucking board in fucking 50 years. Then you get a tyrannical government that tells you what to do and to stay in your fucking house whenever they think that there's some sort of pandemic that gives you a cough.
Well, last note, too, I think what's happening now, too, about the gun stuff, like I just spoke to someone recently as well. I guess there was another shooting that happened at like a graduation. So someone was at a graduation, the guy opened fire in the graduation, blah, 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 that whole thing happened. I don't know where, but it was posted and okay. So due to this that happened, and I was speaking to someone who I know, and I was my response to that was like, well, geez, it seems like everybody has to like basically have a gun now these days, right? And so her response was, she was like, yep, have mine on me everywhere I go. I have a license to carry, and that shit does not leave my side. And I was like, I guess that's kind of how it, like, yeah, it's like, I mean, people, I think on one side, people are very, very scared and don't want, and want more strict gun regulations. And then I think on the other side, there are people who are like, okay, no problem. I will go and now have a license to carry and have my gun because clearly I can't trust anybody else around.
What if every woman was required to have a gun and go through training?
Why would that happen? Every woman?
Every woman.
Why just women?
Men were optional if you wanted to. Because then no man would ever take advantage of a woman, because physically it's just a fact, guys. I know there's all this trans shit or whatever, but like it's a fact that the majority of the male testosterone, muscle mass, all this stuff can overpower most women in most cases. And this is why you have all these rape cases, right? So in this fictitious world, require every woman in America to have a gun on them at all times and go through training at least once a year on how to utilize that gun and protect yourself. That would probably cut down on crime.
Yes.
Right? And if you're a woman, you're walking down the street and you don't have your gun on you, you get arrested.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's go. All right. Wrapping it up. Thanks everyone who tuned in. Thanks for listening to part 2 of episode 42, Convenient Truth.
Yeah. Love you guys. Have a nice
Bye.
weekend.
Great Memorial Day weekend.